Your
YouTube videos
will make a fine addition to my collection.
Not this time. And this time you won't escape.
So the 7th and final season of Star Wars The Clone Wars is upon us. This series, I think it's fair to say, has been incredible. It's easily one of the best pieces of Star Wars media to ever exist and has defined that era of the universe more than the movies ever could. The show manages to do the impossible and make you care about Anakin and fill in those important gaps of the character's fall into darkness to make it truly tragic. In addition, Star Wars Rebels came along, and while I have some issues with it, it also gave us some incredible stories that will go down in history as universe-defining and breathtaking. It's only a shame that the show is cluttered with boring filler about Lothal and characters like Ezra and Zeb, when Kanan and Hera are the best Star Wars characters since...
But I was going into Tashi Station to pick up some power converters!
But I'm not here to talk about Rebels, and I'm not here to talk about Clone Wars. I'm also not here to talk about Resistance. I haven't really seen it. I've heard it's okay though. I'm also not here to talk about Episode 9, but trust me, I will get to that. It's gonna be that's a whole thing. I don't really want to get into it right now. So instead, I want to look to the future. Rebels is over. Resistance is over. Clone Wars is over. So what's next? To not have some ongoing Star Wars animated show feels wrong. I grew up having at least some form of Star Wars television, and I'm not ready for that to stop. Mandalorian is fantastic as a side story, but I need that pure, concentrated Dave Filoni energy that made the other shows so great. So in order to get my mind off of it and have a little bit of hope for the future, I wanted to take a moment and talk about my pitch for the next Star Wars animated series that I think would fill the hole left by the Clone Wars. We need a show that explores the story of Star Wars that is surprisingly untold, at least in canon, and that's the story of our heroes after the fall of the Empire. That's right, I propose a show set in the years after Return of the Jedi, centered around Luke as he struggles to rebuild the Jedi Order, discovering the secrets and the mistakes that the Jedi made that push him along the path to believe that the Jedi should end. And accompanying him on this journey is none other than Ahsoka Tano. The series will be called Star Wars: Jedi Legends. Ahsoka Tano is the best Star Wars character? Right? Everybody agrees with me? I absolutely love Ahsoka. Being able to see her grow up from this annoying Padawan of Anakin into a mature adult nearly capable of kicking Darth Vader's ass has been so satisfying and so incredible to watch, and she represents some of my favorite aspects about Star Wars as a franchise. To me, if Ahsoka didn't exist, Clone Wars and Rebels wouldn't be nearly as good as they are. She's just such a great character, and she needs to be in more things. Even though it feels like she's in everything, she's still not in enough for me to be satisfied. There are the rumors about her having a live-action role in The Mandalorian, which is something I'm really excited about. The thought of seeing Ahsoka in live action, even though it's probably just a small part, hopefully, is so exciting, and I cannot wait. But to me, Ahsoka really needs to be played by Ashley Eckstein. She's been voicing her for more than 10 years, and she loves and understands the character to the point where having anyone else play her would almost feel sacrilegious. And because of that, I think having Ahsoka being in an animated role is a necessity, even if they eventually do make her more prominent in live action. Now, why that specific time frame of post-Return of the Jedi? Because it's the best era for Star Wars. The Emperor's been killed because he died. Don't tell me he's not dead. He's dead, okay? Jesus Christ. But the Empire still has a presence, albeit a waning one as the New Republic begins to take hold. In my opinion, it's the best era for new Star Wars stories. While I understand it wasn't flawless, I personally really enjoyed the single-player campaign for Battlefront 2 because of that. And while we're on the topic, can we all just address that Battlefront 2 got really good? That might be because I got it for like $5, but I'm having a good time with it. But I'm gonna be honest, the main reason that I want to return to this period of time is a pretty simple one. I really miss Luke's green lightsaber. To me, that weapon is the definitive Jedi Knight lightsaber, and represents a lot of really important themes of Star Wars about coming of age and becoming your own individual. Luke made that himself after he lost an arm and received the worst news of his life, basing the design off of Obi-Wan's lightsaber. There's just so much character to it and history to it, and I love it so much, and it's a shame that it's been sidelined for Anakin's. Also, let's be real, green lightsabers are just better, and that's a fact. You can't argue with me on that. We've had so many blue lightsabers lately that it feels like Lucasfilm's trying to erase green lightsabers. For the entire sequel trilogy, every lightsaber outside of small cameos has been either blue or red. Even in the Clone Wars, Ahsoka now has 2 blue lightsabers. Like, what the fuck, what? Like, it's so, it's a conspiracy, I'm telling you. The only character to have a green lightsaber in a post-Disney Star Wars world has been Ezra Bridger, and he's the worst. Ezra's the worst. Anyway, back to the pitch. I would want an animated series to follow Luke and Ahsoka as they explore more about Jedi history. Not only would it be 2 of my personal favorite Star Wars characters interacting, I think their chemistry would work really well off each other. Ahsoka left the Jedi Order after she felt abandoned and after they lost their way, and Luke is attempting to rebuild that Jedi Order. This can plant some seeds in Luke that lead him to abandoning the Order and the Force in The Last Jedi. There's also a really interesting dynamic when it comes to Anakin and their impact on him. Ahsoka was Anakin's Padawan and knew him better than anybody, and had she been present during the events of Episode 3, it's super likely that he wouldn't have fallen to the dark side, and she could be putting a huge amount of blame on herself because of that. On the flip side, Luke was the one who helped turn Vader to the light side and saved him, and the two of them can gain mutual respect over their love of Anakin and their relationship with him. This is important because it ties into a really major part of this pitch, and probably my favorite part about this whole idea. Now, the majority of the show could follow Luke and Ahsoka as they do any variety of things. They can explore Jedi tombs and temples, just like an Indiana Jones style adventure similar to those scenes from Fallen Order. They can search for more Force sensitive and start to rebuild the Order, or they can work with Sabine to search for Ezra, or even follow Luke a bit as he helps build the New Republic. Really just anything in this time frame would be interesting. However, the thing that I would personally really like to see would evolve around Anakin and his Force ghost. Now, if you don't remember, we had a trilogy of new Star Wars movies that came out. Episodes 7, 8, and 9, they were kind of obscure and they kind of fell beneath the radar, so I wouldn't blame you if you missed it. One of the unused concepts for Episode 7 that I really liked had to do with Anakin's Force Ghost and how he was trapped in this middle ground between Vader and Anakin and wasn't able to fully pass on. That's an idea that I think would have been really interesting to incorporate in the sequel trilogy, but since that's not the case, it would also work really well for this show. Both Luke and Ahsoka, two of the most important people in Anakin's life, should be the ones to bring peace to his spirit. Venturing through tombs and old Jedi ruins to learn more about Force ghosts and what they mean, they should work together to get a better understanding of why Anakin turned and how the Jedi failed him. We can also use the series and their discoveries as a way to address a lot of the complaints and confusions and misconceptions about the prequel and sequel trilogies. For example, what was the prophecy? What does it mean to bring balance to the Force? How does the number of dark side users influence the number of light side users and vice versa? Maybe they can hint at how Palpatine survived, even though he didn't survive. He died. He died in Episode 6, and he definitely died. With this series and the setup, the storytellers can really dive deep into Jedi lore and Jedi history and revisit other Jedi in the past, like Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan and Yoda and fucking Plo Koon and Kit Fisto. I don't fucking care. Anybody, assuming Luke and Ahsoka visit places where the Force is powerful enough to allow that, like Mortis or something like that. I recognize this is probably not going to happen. Mark Hamill is an incredibly busy, big famous man, and Lucasfilm probably doesn't want to make another story centering around a Skywalker. But I believe that if given the right time and budget, similar to the final season of Clone Wars, this series could really work well. Even if it's just one season or even like a miniseries or an animated movie, I think that a move like this could really help repair the relationship between Lucasfilm and the fans. Since as it stands right now, Star Wars fans are all over the place. Going back to the franchise's roots and focusing on Luke Skywalker once again could be that reset that people need and could start the path that allows Star Wars to grow more into what it needs to become. Because sometimes, as much as you want to let the past die, sometimes it just doesn't stay dead. That was a stupid line. I kind of like it though. So this was just a pitch, and I didn't get too much into detail with it, but if you're looking for something a little bit more concrete and an actual story to follow as opposed to just a pitch, might I recommend today's sponsor, Audible. In this whole quarantine situation, it's really important for everyone to keep themselves occupied and find something to do. Whether that be finding a new hobby, exercising, or just being a good old epic gamer, audiobooks are a great addition to any of those hobbies. Audible is the #1 provider of audiobooks, and boy does it show. Their library is absolutely insane, with thousands and thousands of different titles varying across all genres, and they even have things like podcasts or guided meditations, so there's an endless supply of content for you to listen to. Now, this might be a controversial opinion, but there are a lot of Star Wars books, and Audible has audiobooks for nearly every single one of them. Whether it be canon or legends, if you can name a Star Wars novel, Audible will have it. Currently, I've been listening to Heir to the Empire by Timothy Zahn. It's the first book in the Thrawn trilogy, and it's not canon anymore, but it gives me that post-Empire Star Wars feeling with Luke and the gang that I've been craving so much, and I've really been enjoying it. The story's only a few hours long, which in my opinion makes it the perfect length to sit down for a couple of sessions and basically treat it like a brand new Star Wars movie. Or if you're looking for something a little bit more in canon, I would definitely recommend the book Ahsoka by E.K. Johnston, which follows Ahsoka after the Clone Wars and after the fallout of Order 66. We see her dealing with the new Empire, gaining the name Fulcrum, and even creating her new white lightsabers, which I think is dope. The coolest thing about it though, is that it's actually narrated by Ashley Eckstein. So now that even though Clone Wars is over, you can continue to follow her story like it never ended. With Audible, there are so many options you can choose from and so much entertainment and knowledge right at your fingertips. And the best part about the sponsorship is they're going to be giving you 30 days completely free. So try out Audible, listen to some of your favorite books, and if you don't like it, there's nothing to lose. So go to www.audibletrial.com/fanboy to get your free 30-day trial, and let me know in the comments what you've been listening to in your Star Wars books recommendations. Anyway, with that said, thank you so much for watching. This has been TroyBoy17 coming at you live with another Fanboy pre-write. This has been kind of a shorter one. I didn't really want to go too into depth with it because inevitably, I'm going to be wrong you know, in like 2 days, they're going to announce something and I'm going to feel stupid and wrong. This was just something that's been on my mind for a little bit, and I wanted to get it out there. And, you know, let me know in the comments what you want to see for a future Star Wars animated show or live action show or any Star Wars spinoff or movie or anything. Let me know. Thanks so much to all my patrons for supporting me. This has been ChoyBoy17 coming at you live. Remember to wash your hands and stay safe, and I'll see you around.